me.
I. O.
Hi.
U. Sometimes Y.
Yeah, sometimes
Vowels?
Y.
Is that how vowels work?
I think, did we forget A?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Mean, it's an article. It'll be okay.
True. But yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Blue's back.
I am back. Yeah, welcome back to you guys as well to BnB Anime. It has been, I feel like it's been a long time, but it's just because like Brad's been doing a lot of solo podcasts recently and we've kind of been all over the place with our schedule, but school is done now.
Yeah,
so,
look at you. Congratulations. I'm so proud.
Thank you. Yeah, so, and now I kind of know what I'm getting into for, you know, next semester and everything. It was just, like, it's the first time I've been back to school in 7 or 8 years, so it was a big adjustment period.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say it's probably been a very huge adjustment period.
Yeah.
But you've made good friends, and you seem like you've had fun, as stressful as all that it was, so, hey, it all works out.
Yeah. Today we are covering Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah! Studio Ghibli! It's about time. I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've done a Ghibli film.
I know, and I hadn't watched any Ghibli films up until doing this podcast, so I'm kind of watching them for the first time and then talking about them here on the podcast.
Oh, so this was your first time seeing Howl's Moving Castle?
It was. Yeah.
Exciting.
Every Ghibli film that we have covered on the podcast so far has been my first response to the first viewing. So I'm going to keep it that way. I've kind of been intentionally not watching any Ghibli films because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, first time watching it.
Fancy.
Yeah. I really liked this. Spoiler alert. I really liked this one.
Oh, major spoiler alert, everyone. Whatever will we do? So,
I know.
As far as it ranks against all of the others that we've seen up to this point, or you've seen up to this point, rather, how does it fare against everything else?
I think this one and Kiki's Delivery Service are my top two at the moment. I don't know why. Kiki's Delivery Service is really stuck in my brain. That's the one that I picture even more than like My Neighbor Totoro or I can't even remember the other one that we covered.
Spirited Away.
For some reason, like I know, like No Face and like you know the characters, even if you're just like in the anime circle a little bit, you know them. So
you know
like
how many people you just alienated with that though? Spirited Away is like top tier as far as Ghibli films go for so many people.
But for some reason, it's less memorable to me than Kiki's Delivery Service, which is
Kiki's Delivery. I feel like the big three, whenever it comes to, or I guess big four, rather, are all the ones that we have covered.
Yeah.
With typically Spirited Away and Howl's sitting in most people's like top tier.
Mm-hmm.
But then Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service not too far behind as far as like what's typically in people's favorite spots. Howl's is actually my second favorite out of all the Ghibli films, with Spirited Away being the first. So it was really nice to sit down and watch this again. The biggest thing for me is it was different watching this with Podcast Brain.
Oh, okay. I'm curious.
But before we get into that, I do have some exciting stuff to talk about.
Okay.
First of all, new arc of Demon Slayer has started.
Ooh.
I'm so excited. That was such a good episode to start off with.
Good. I'm glad.
So Mugen Train has officially come to an end. We've gotten started on the Entertainment District arc. We got introduced to the Sound Hashira like fully. We got introduced to his 3 wives, who are actually animated now.
Right.
And it's fantastic. I'm really enjoying what we've seen so far. The new OP is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the animation just keeps getting better and better and better. My God.
Good. I'm glad.
So it's a lot of fun. Other than that, sword art.
Sword art.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
It was fantastic. I loved it. And because of that, I've got good news.
Oh, do you now?
So she'd probably kill me if I talk about it on the podcast, but I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
So the girlfriend's an anime fan now.
How could you? I don't like. Could you possibly like really long-term date someone who wasn't at least, like, wouldn't sit down and watch an anime with you.
You see, I'm the kind of person to where I can, as long as they go into it knowing and understanding that anime is a huge part of my life, always has been, and now due to considering what we do for work,
yeah,
it always forever will be.
Yeah.
So as long as they know that going into it, then I could deal with it. However, I feel like for me, it means more to me as long as you're willing to give it a try.
Yeah.
So we sit down after the credits roll in Progressive, and after the credits roll, it goes through the little end credit scene, which, by the way, here's our news for the week. They've officially announced SAO Progressive 2. The second film is coming to theaters next year. So shameless plug. So after the credits roll, we're just sitting there, and Lane just looks at me and she goes, "Is that it?" And
I was like, no more.
What do you mean, is that it? She's like, "Is that all we get?" Like, she said, there's 100 floors and we only got the first one. And I was like, I know. So I was like, technically there is more. There's technically about 100 more episodes of Sword Art. But I was like, as far as this is concerned, like, this whole arc is done. If you want to go watch like SAO 1, the first arc, don't watch the second arc because that's shit. But no, as far as this is concerned, this movie was it until the next one comes out next year. And she's like, "Oh, well, that sucks."
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew I had her. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't. That's really cute. I'm glad that you're that you got her hooked, because I don't know. I don't know that I could be in a relationship with someone that wouldn't like sit down and watch something with me. Like, it would be like, you don't have to be obsessed with anime like I am, but like, I would like to share this, you know?
And like, she plays video games and she's getting more and more open to video games as well. So at least as long as there's some sort of connection there, I was like, this will work because she's cool. And I was like, okay, so I can make this work. But then after she sat through SAO, she's like, okay, I can actually do this. But she's like, don't show me anything like super weird. And I was like, no Food Wars. Got it. At least not yet.
Yeah, I don't think Food Wars is a good starter anime.
Well, she's got such a bad taste because of, you know how people were in school. I'm sure you had those people wore the headbands and Naruto run through the hallways and, you know, hissed at people.
Yeah.
So that gave her a really bad rep. But also, I think one of her like previous relationships watched a lot of sponsors bleep this out, but
adult anime.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones that you can't find on like Crunchyroll and Funimation. You got to go to those sites.
The ones that have censoring.
Yes. I was about to say tentacles, but I was like, nope, Food Wars.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Yeah, and so that also kind of turned her off to it. I was like, darling, listen, that's not anime. That is hentai. You don't
different genre, yeah.
That's completely different. No.
Well, that's like saying that just like regular film and porn are the same thing, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I explained that to her. I said, look, as you can see from this, and I was like, this is actually a fantastic example of what anime is, because it's meant for adults and the animation is top notch. Like, Progressive was beautiful. I legitimately think I gave it a 10 out of 10 last week. And after having watched it again with her, without having to have podcast brain turned on, like, I completely shut that off and just enjoyed the film for what it is, because yes, I paid to see it twice. Don't judge me. I was just like, yeah, it totally deserved the 10 out of 10 that I gave it. Like, it was just a beautiful retelling of one of my favorite franchises, but it's also a good example to her that anime is not something that's bad. They have some very outlying stuff like Prison School and whatnot that can kind of give, you know, anime for some people a bad taste. But on the flip side of things, like, it can also just be these beautiful masterpieces. And so don't dislike an entire genre just for one, you know, adult related subject or these other things that are just very ecchi. I was like, there is an anime for everyone. You just have to find that balance for that individual. Yeah.
So now, next question, follow-up question to this is, what's the next step for her? What are you introducing her to next?
That's a very good question, because she loves romance. She loves comedies.
Okay.
So
Tanaka-kun?
I feel like Tanaka-kun would be an easier one to sell if Tanaka-kun had a dub.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't want to show her anything subbed yet, because I don't need to turn her off to something that I'm like finally starting to weasel my way in with.
Okay, fair point.
So I've got a couple different ideas. Your Line April, for one.
That's horrible. No, okay, give a few nice ones before you get into that.
But no, legitimately, I was thinking either like Your Name or Weathering with You. Because she's seen some Ghibli films growing up. I think she's seen Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service. So honestly, Howls would be a fantastic option to show her, or Spirited Away or something along those lines. But Your Name and Weathering with You, or even I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, were three big ones that popped into my mind. I was like, hey, she would actually really enjoy these and get emotionally attached to the characters and whatnot that go along with it.
Fair warning, if you introduce her to Howls, she will have a new crush.
That'll be fine. I have a beautiful, gorgeous beard, so I think I'm covered.
I don't know. He could do magic.
True. Very true. And she's a big Harry Potter nerd, so fuck.
Yeah, that's a fair warning with that one.
That'll be okay.
I'm just looking at the past animes that we've covered for things that might appeal.
Well, here's another thing. She's also a respiratory therapist, so she's big into science. So you know what I'm thinking.
Oh, Dr. Stone's on the table.
Yeah, Dr. Stone's definitely on the table.
I honestly feel like, is it wrong to pick up Girls in a Dungeon would be funny?
It would be funny, but I still think that's a bit too ecchi for her now.
Maybe. I don't know. I dove right into the deep end when I started watching anime, so like my level of easing someone in doesn't exist. I'm right
there with you, but well, I mean, considering the first time you talked to Tree about anime, you immediately tried to throw him into fucking, what was that? Keijo?
Yeah.
Yep. So, but no, I try to give like as honest of recommendations as I can.
Oh, Chihaya!
Oh, that might be a good one, but that's a little long.
Yeah, but it's so adorable.
Oh, it is. It's amazing, and I love it. And I think after I show her a couple more films, I can get her into something more, a little bit long term, because there's 3 seasons.
Akko's Inn would be a good little film to watch.
Yeah, that's true. But no, at some point I do want to show her Tanaka-kun, and what else have we covered that I want to eventually show her and try to get her hooked on?
Arte might be quite good. A little romance, almost, kind of. Suggested romance.
Kaguya-sama is actually on the top of my list of as far as like rom-coms to show her. Bunny Girl.
See, this is another one of like making people sad.
But it's incredibly intelligent, and I feel like that would probably sit with her a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like that, or I don't know. Like I have so many options. But no, she will eventually watch Your Line April with me, and she will cry.
Yes. Yeah.
For those out there watching, yes, Brad is just as big of an asshole as he sounds. Other exciting things. So for those that are unaware and have been living under a rock every time that we have gone over our outros, I stream. Not only do I stream, I'm an affiliated streamer who just drew some more emotes. And they're fantastic. I love them. What did you think?
I thought they were great.
Thank you.
So good.
That's the first time I've drawn, too, in like a year. So I was really pleased with how those came out.
No, they're great. I really like them.
They turned out well. I'm pleased.
Yes. I also have news.
Oh, what you got?
I have news that I was referred to via Philip DeFranco. So if you watch his channel, you already know this. Spoiler alert. Or if you've like been on YouTube in the anime circuit the past couple of days, you probably know about this.
Oh.
So what happened is, let me just get my receipts because you know my brain don't work. A channel called TotallyNotMark is an anime review channel on YouTube that's like big and successful and has been doing this for years, to the point where he is now not just a YouTuber, he's a company. He has employees to work for him to do these anime reviews. Toei Studios just copyrighted I think it was like 150 of his videos.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, and considering that he puts out one video a week, very similar to how we do this podcast, that's about 3 years worth of work that has just been completely taken from his channel and demonetized and like had to be removed. This studio, Toei, has also then reached out to him on separate occasions, trying to work with him to for promo. Toei Studio is actually a studio that we have discussed previously for misconduct throughout their studio. It's not one that we're not familiar with them kind of being a little bit unsavory, shall we say. So this is just layering more negativity, I feel like, in the anime community, especially in the new wave of new generation of anime community with the studio. So, yeah.
And considering we are in a period of transition where anime is becoming more and more popular, then you have a studio like Toei that does things like Dragon Ball. What the fuck are y'all doing?
Yep.
Like, genuinely, what the fuck? Now is not the time to be trying to alienate fans and piss people off.
Yeah.
And all the other stuff that we talked about earlier this year. But do not come after content creators that are trying to, help bolster a brand and bring eyes to y'all's product.
Yeah. See, this is for those who don't know, the way copyright works on YouTube is that you can either get a copyright strike or a copyright claim. The difference between them is that if you get a certain number of strikes, I think it's 3 strikes within a month or 3 months or something, you will have your channel terminated. Whereas if they have a claim, all it does is it then takes the monetization for the video and it gives it to the other party automatically. And then you can dispute this claim, and which is what this YouTuber did. He disputed this claim, and the claim then goes back to the person who claimed it, and in this case Toei Studios, who then gets to say whether or not it was a real claim or not. So it's just staying within those two parties. YouTube has not stepped in. If this has gone back and forth that many times, then it is on the people to then take it to court and have a situation. Obviously, that's one YouTuber against an entire animation studio. The conversation gets a little bit more interesting around this, though, regarding the fact that fair use laws are incredibly different globally. So in North America, in most of Europe, in the vast majority of what we would consider our YouTube realm, fair use is a law that states that if you take a piece of content and you transform it, for instance, you take a clip of a 20-minute long video, you take 30 seconds, you show the 30 seconds, then you discuss what happened during those 30 seconds and break it down. That's transformative content. So you're not technically stealing that 30 seconds, even though you didn't create the 30 seconds yourself, right? So that's considered fair use. And it's there so that people can do things like review and critiques and all of this other transformative content, make edits, fan edits, things like that. Those are all transformative content, so long as they're not taking the whole idea. And it's that way, it's set that way to protect both the artist and then the reviewer, right? Japan, though, doesn't have those same copyright laws, those same fair use laws. In fact, they don't really have a fair use law at all. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it. If you do want more information on it, I do recommend going to Philip DeFranco's channel and checking out his video. It was from a couple of days ago. I think probably Wednesday of the week before this podcast goes up. It was probably then. If I remember correctly, but it'll be right in the title. It's the YouTuber. I forgot his name already. That's bad. TotallyNotMark is right in the title of that episode, so you can find it there on Philip DeFranco's YouTube channel, where he goes into the discussions of the actual differences in law that I find quite fascinating. But for me, the big topic of conversation around this is more to do with the internal workings of Toei Animation and how on one side of Toei Animation they are sending out copyright claims to YouTubers for any kind of transformative content, taking down 150 videos for a YouTuber that has been very successful in promoting their work, because obviously reviewers do that. We review an anime, it promotes it to people, they then watch the anime if they're curious about the review, right? So positive promotion, it comes from even negative reviews. But at that same time, Toei Studio is also reaching out to this content creator to work with them for other forms of promotion. It's one of those mind-blowing things of like the left hand and the right hand are just not connecting. And I found that very fascinating that they don't have an internal system via each person. Like if they have like you think that they would have a program where it's like, there's a successful YouTuber who's using our videos. I'm just going to look them up in our program to see if we've ever worked with them before.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I don't know. Those were my thoughts.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. And it's very shitty to be like, hey, so listen, we're going to try to take claim of all of your videos. Also, while we're at it, you want to work with us and we'll give you some money?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, we've just stolen 150 videos worth of revenue for you. 3 years worth of work and profit we've just taken.
But hey, you want to work together? Like,
yeah.
Just how...
So
that's frustrating.
It is. Yeah, it's very, very frustrating. But since this movement, that specific YouTuber and a couple of other YouTubers, a lot of people in the anime community have called for a boycott for that studio, people not covering content from them, and not watching the new Dragon Ball movie when that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, because of that, and I've been a lifelong Dragon Ball fan.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since that shit came out earlier this year about how they treated the employees who went by a different name or different pronouns, whatever that situation was, and then now with this and how underhanded that is, I can't go and support the film.
Yeah.
Like, it's not right to go and support them after, doing all of that. And I realize I am just one individual.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it does bring up the conversation with you guys, like, how do you feel about it? Are you, as just an anime watcher and someone who doesn't make content surrounding anime, does this change your perspective on the studio? Do you care? Are you a fan of the YouTubers that have been affected? Are you going to go watch the Dragon Ball film? Or if you were already going to watch the Dragon Ball film, has this changed your perspective? Yeah, I'm very curious about all of your guys' answers and conversations around this topic, because I feel like you can't really have been like a younger millennial or Gen Z and not been involved somewhat in a copyright claim conversation at some point. I feel like all of our YouTubers that we grew up around have had this conversation. It was a very big conversation with like when H3 was getting sued, and I think he's getting sued again now for copyright claims. Like, it's something that we kind of always grew up around. So to see it happening specifically in the anime community is and not like within like creator to creator, seeing this with studio to creator, I don't know, I feel like this is kind of going to set the precedent for what other studios start to do in the future.
And I think any sort of backlash will also kind of serve as not necessarily a warning, but also as kind of a, hey, like, we are fans and we have a lot more power kind of than what we give ourselves credit for in the community. And there have been a lot of situations where studios have had to go back and change things, or like, take, for instance, what happened with Cyberpunk and the fan backlash on that.
Yeah.
And kind of how that caused and changed things. So we, as fans, we have power to make change in the world for the better.
Yeah, and then that brings up the topic of conversation of how much do Japanese studios rely on their international audience for profit, because of course that's the only way we affect them is via profit and reputation, and thus profit via reputation. But how much are they trying to get from an international audience? Is it worth it to them to fight this battle, lose their international audience, but still have a solid audience in Japan? Because I don't feel like these creators are going to be very big in Japan. They are creators for an English-speaking audience, reviewing anime for an English-speaking audience. So does Toei Animation care that they're ruining their reputation in the rest of the world if they have a solid base in Japan?
Well, take, for instance, Ufotable. And how much money they made worldwide. Not just domestically, but worldwide off of Mugen Train. That could have been a lot different if, say, Ufotable did the kind of stuff that Toei Animation's doing and they pissed off their audience.
Yeah.
Because, it did, how much was it? Over $500 million?
Something like that, yeah.
In the worldwide box office?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a touchy situation, but that's a lot of revenue that they can miss out on. And think about how huge Dragon Ball is.
Globally was $477 million. Is that what they're saying? That isn't... Yeah, million.
So, $477 million out of a total of $503 million. So about 90-ish% of everything that was made on that film was made not domestically, but globally.
Yeah.
It would not have hit budget if it wasn't for the global audience, for the amount of money that they poured into that. So put that into perspective for Dragon Ball and the potential that it has, because as someone who has been to a release of Dragon Ball films in the past, like say whenever Broly came out in theaters, or Resurrection F, or Battle of the Gods. Those theaters are packed for ages. Like, those tickets sell out immediately. So if fans just completely said, nah, fuck it, that's a lot of revenue to lose out on worldwide.
Yeah. Well, I think this is more and more and more within the past 5 years, I would say. I'm going to put it at 5. We're starting to see East Asian culture and media becoming incredibly successful in North America and Europe and Australia, you know? I mean, K-pop has completely taken over the world. Anime has boomed like it's never been before. It is now, like, mainstream to watch anime. Like, I don't think I know anyone who hasn't seen at least some form of anime, whereas growing up, it was the vast majority of people had not seen anime. You don't get bullied for it anymore. Like, what is this?
Yeah, if only we could be growing up now. Our lives would be so much different, mate.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But that was one thing that I came across, and I thought that it would be an interesting topic to discuss.
Oh, 100%. So, on top of that, and the girlfriend talk, there's our tangents for the week.
Yes, we have covered them. So let's move on to Howl's Moving Castle.
So, Howl's Moving Castle was initially a fantasy novel written by British author Diana Wynne Jones.
Ooh.
It was first published in 1986. It was a runner-up for the annual Boston Globe Horn Book Award. And the film was actually nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Fuck off outside. I am talking. I am important.
But it lost to another. It lost to another British creation.
Oh, what did it lose to?
Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Boo. Anime.
Yeah, it's claymation.
Anime.
Claymation.
Anime.
Claymation. Claymation's so cool.
Oh, it is incredibly cool. And it's so painstaking how they have to make that stuff too.
Yeah.
Like the amount of work that go into claymation films, like I can totally understand why it didn't stick around for as long as it would. But there's such fantastic films. Like a lot of older Christmas films and whatnot are made that way. Yeah.
I grew up watching a whole lot of claymation. I think it was way more popular in Europe than it ever was kind of globally. It kind of became a bit of a British phenomenon to make claymation. Wallace and Gromit's a fantastic example of why. Chicken Run is another example. I think there was a Flushed Away film from the same studio that did well internationally. Yeah, claymation. Gotta love it.
But also, anime! So, as we've already said earlier in this episode, Howl's Moving Castle is a Studio Ghibli film. Therefore, it was obviously directed and had the screenplay done by Hayao Miyazaki. And And the film came out in 2004.
Yes. In autumn, on November 20th.
Yeah. So the budget for the film was $24 million, and the US or the global box office, it made $226 million. So it eclipsed its entire budget by 1,000%. So good job.
Yay! Yeah.
You do it, Studio Ghibli. You do it.
So it is rated G, which is, fitting for the whole thing. It's very much a G film.
Oh, 100%.
Yep. It is an hour and 59 minutes, so pretty much 2 hours on the dot. It has been licensed by Walt Disney Studios, which I find interesting, and because of that, is on Canadian Netflix.
And if you're in the States, you got to find it on HBO Max or, get yourself a VPN.
Yeah, just hop on over to Canada for a bit.
Yeah.
On Anime Planet, it is rated a 4.44 out of 5 or an 8.88 out of 10. On My Anime List, it is an 8.66 out of 10. So an 8.77 for the middle.
Yeah.
Nice easy maths today. And
I'm sure that helps your brain.
It does, yes. It also has a very nice drop rate of 0.10.
Hey, so, look at that.
Yeah, it's been super easy maths. Very much enjoyed that.
Look at you go. You had the easy job this week.
I did have the easy job. I'm trying to see where it stands with other films that we've reviewed. So, films tend to I have them set up differently on our spreadsheet here. But for example, for another Ghibli film, we have Kiki's Delivery Service has a 0.17% drop rate. So that is a 0.07% difference, which for films is quite considerable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is the lowest drop rate of anything. I think this is the lowest drop rate of anything. I'm just looking to see if I can find something that is lower than this, and I don't think so. I think this has the best drop rate of anything that we have Oh, no, I found something. Your Name has a 0.02.
Haha, Darling in the Franxx reference.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only thing that we have so far covered, unless there is something that I have missed or haven't quite updated because I don't have the spreadsheet all the way up to date. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that's the only other thing I can see that has a better drop rate than this. So really, really good scores across the board.
Oh, 100%. And it also just kind of goes to show to kind of the similarities that are drawn between Miyazaki and Makoto Shinkai.
That's the dude.
So it's totally understandable to understand the similarities that are drawn between Miyazaki and Shinkai, with Shinkai being labeled as the modern day Miyazaki. And it goes to show in both of their works.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, should we jump into the plot?
Yeah, plot.
I will give a quick overview before we chuck on those spoiler chicken hats. So, this is a film about a girl who she's just like a hat maker. She's just chilling in her little small town, and she is kind of like the plain daughter. She's a bit of a plain Jane of the family. And one day she just kind of bumps into a wizard for a bit, and the Howl. And they have a good old time together. Whilst this is happening, there is a war situation happening, which is the big plot line of the story. And they encounter some rather bizarre folk along the way. And obviously you have a villain. So, regular storyline, plot line. It is a very, very cute film and has some fantastic side characters. So yeah, do recommend to give it a watch.
Fantastic side characters, fantastic visuals. For this to be almost 2 decades old, holy shit, is it pretty.
Yes, very pretty. And you may fall in love while watching this film, just to let you know.
Oh?
Main characters, just putting that out there.
Blue got a new crush all of a sudden?
Absolutely, yeah.
You heard it here first, and I now have more info for the description, so good job.
My phone buzzed. Who do you want? That didn't make any sense. I mean,
obviously they want you.
I meant to say, who are you and what do you want?
Oh my god.
nobody else here. It's just me. They only get me.
I was gonna say, you're the only one with your phone number.
I'm the only me that there is. Funny that, right?
Yeah, right.
Who'd have
thought? Who would have thought?
Yes. Yeah. Did you watch it subbed or dubbed?
I watched it dubbed.
And what did you think of the dubs?
Dub was fantastic. They had a great cast. Batman was Howl. So it was cool.
Yeah. Interesting. Sub was great too. So either way that you watch it, sounds good. Let's put those chicken hats on.
Spoiler chicken hats on.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know how to begin this.
Hat shop.
Younger sister who is wearing a lot of makeup. That's probably some of the most makeup I've seen in an anime.
Yeah, and all on one person at that.
Yeah. Playing Jane, sewing hats, bumps into Howl, and then they go flying around. It's a fun time.
That's pretty much it. Then they get chased by Goop.
Goop, yeah. What is that horror film that's like the giant Marmite blob that's like rolling through the streets from like the 1950s?
I don't know.
I think it's just called,
hilarious.
I genuinely think it's just called The Blob. I'm gonna Google it.
So, you know what film is genuinely hilarious for what it is?
What?
8-Legged Freaks.
Oh.
Like, it's supposed to be a scary film about spiders.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of very comical, not gonna lie. Like, that was one of my favorite horror films growing up. Now, it's obviously Cabin in the Woods, because Cabin in the Woods is a fucking film masterpiece.
Yes. I found The Blob and I'm looking at images and this is hilarious. It's a 1958 sci-fi horror film. The tagline is, "It eats you alive!"
I would be disappointed if it didn't.
Yeah. That's another thing that I have strange knowledge on is 1950s horror films because my parents love them.
You know, knowing your parents, especially your dad, I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, Creature of the Black Lagoon was probably one of the first horror films I ever watched.
Oh, hey, what do you know?
Yeah. Okay, anyway, swiftly moving on. I got distracted. Bunny hole.
Bunny hole?
Bunny hole is that's a thing that the twins have implemented into my vocabulary.
Oh, hey, what do you know?
I think it's a reference to Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Also, hi, twins.
Hi, twins. Yes. Okay, so they're running away from the blob in the air and blobbing along, singing a song at the bottom of the beautiful briny sea. If anybody gets that reference, there's going to be a small amount of people that do, and like everyone else is just going to be confused. Then she goes to the hat shop and she's talking to her family, and we kind of get introduced to her family, and it's very much established that she's plain Jane character. And she's kind of already fallen all over in love with Howl at this point, and I'm with her, honestly. He was very charming. And then she goes into her shop. It's late at night, and all of a sudden, this almost like Roald Dahl style grotesque looking woman walks in the door. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I feel like I think it was the Twits or the Witches, or I can't remember which one of his children's books that he wrote in, but he wrote a comparison that's always stuck in my brain, and there was little illustrations that went along with it that was like, no matter what you look like, your beauty will always shine through or something. And it had two depictions of two old women, and they were both like conventionally unattractive, but one of them looked so calming and adorable and sweet, and the other one looked so horrific and scary. And they were so very similar, but you could clearly see how their personalities reflected through into their physical appearance. And I think this is a fantastic case of that. There are a lot of parts of this villain who is considered to be stereotypically unattractive, but that's not what makes her unattractive. It is her grotesqueness that sets you on edge. She's not just like because I feel like the argument for there could be an argument for you just made the villain plus size because you had to make a villain evil and obesity is evil. You know what I mean? And there could be like that argument for it. But I really feel like that was not the thing that made her so grotesque.
No, it was genuinely her personality, because later on, whenever she gets all of her magic taken away from her and she becomes like sweet, senile old lady, she's very sweet.
Yeah.
And I don't hate her.
No.
I'm like, oh, she's adorable. Like, she could be grandma. But then she, ruins everything multiple times.
Yes.
And yet she's not the main villain.
No.
You're led to believe she's the main villain, but she's not.
No.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the main villain is inside of us all along.
Right. Brad was the main villain the whole time.
Hey, don't you Scooby-Doo me. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling Blue.
And that dog.
Oh, I miss Bean. How is Bean?
Bean? So far, all the updates I've had are good. I Skyped my parents the other day, and I spoke to her through the camera, and she didn't understand it all and was very confused. So...
I'm sure you're excited to go see her here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm super excited to head on home.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so then he ditches and she goes back to her hat shop where she then, old lady comes in, is evil, curses her to the curse of age. And part of the curse is that she can't say that she's been cursed. So, Sophie then grabs all of her bits and bobs together, gets herself a little knapsack of food and cheese and bread, chucks that on over her shoulder and treks out of the village to where she is heading just towards like witches and wizards, and I don't actually really know where. She didn't really say she ever had a destination, but she's heading towards magical people to try and get the curse reversed.
Yeah, I think she was actually trying to go meet Howl.
Okay.
Because she saw where his castle was heading. So she's like, okay, I'm going to head in that direction, and maybe I'll end up meeting up with him at some point or another.
Yeah. But either way, she can't stay where she is because all of a sudden she's turned into an old woman, and that would just confuse people, and it would be very strange. So she knows that she has to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So she then, along the way, tries to get herself a walking stick and ends up with a scarecrow. And
Scarecrow is best boy.
He is best. I was thinking that while watching the film. I was like, yeah, he's best boy.
Oh, more so than a lot of other characters that we're going to talk about in our anime awards here in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Scarecrow's best boy.
Honestly, he ranks high in the best boy category.
Oh, 100%. It turns out he's actually a boy.
Mm-hmm.
What a plot twist.
What a plot twist. Yeah. So they end up getting Sophie ends up getting kind of swept up by the castle, the moving castle, where we are introduced to Markle and Calcifer, who are Calcifer is the fire that runs the whole thing, is how it moves, and Markle is kind of the little boy who I'm assuming is kind of an apprentice to Howl.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And so he is a young wizard who kind of helps out with all of the errands of the place. This castle is obviously magical and can teleport places, really. Like, it doesn't really teleport, but it can take you to places. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's like Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
But you get to choose where the door goes.
Yeah. It's like a portal.
Hey, I've played that game.
The cake is a lie.
The cake is 100% a lie.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I don't think you can really spoil that anymore. I feel like that's a very known fact.
I feel like people that have never played Portal know the cake is a lie, and yet they don't understand where it's from.
No, they just know the saying, but they don't get it.
Nope.
Yeah, so then requests for war kind of happen. Sophie becomes a cleaner. Howl and them kind of bond for a bit. There's like a while where it's just kind of them getting to know each other, which is, I really appreciate that.
And Sophie cleaning literally everything. Who'd have thought that dirty, disgusting place could look so nice?
I know. I feel like that's like a Ghibli theme. It's like you can't have a Ghibli film without cleaning.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But I feel like also because of this getting to know each other scene, I feel like the film, don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like this film drug. Not in a bad way. It just seemed really long. I enjoyed every bit of it, but I don't know if it's just because it's 2 hours.
I was going to say, it's one of the longest we've seen so far in the Ghibli film.
think so. Yeah. It just for some reason, I felt like it drug on. Like it took me forever to watch it. And I love the film. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know if it's just this bit because and having seen the film before too, I don't think that helped. But did it feel like it kind of drug to you at all without dragging? Does that make sense?
I know what you mean. It's a long story. And I feel like what we're seeing here is that Ghibli films are films about nothing. This is something we've kind of established before. They're films where not much happens. My Neighbor Totoro is a fantastic example of that. They are films of everyday people in situations that are unusual, as opposed to films of extraordinary people in situations that are unusual. So, because of that, they are very soft and gentle and like a slow-moving stream, as opposed to a rushing river of content. And because this one is 2 hours, which is actually longer than the others, it does have those moments of not where you're feeling like, oh, this is taking forever. It's just you're like, oh, I'm on a bit of a time crunch and I'm still watching this film. But it's not a bad thing, it just is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a slower paced film. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to kind of get back into the swing of Ghibli things, but also plot holes galore.
Yeah, there were plot holes. There was also an animation thing that I don't know if it was intentional or not. But Sophie's, you know how she has her plait down her hair, and she has 2 ribbons, one at the top, one at the bottom. The one at the top sometimes disappears throughout the film, and I don't know if that's like when she was really old, the plait couldn't sustain both ribbons, so it disappeared. But then I wonder why, because none of her other clothing changed, just the ribbon changed. You know what I mean? Like, it was that I would have preferred it if the ribbon had either never been there or always been there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I agree. It could have been a thing where they just forgot.
Yeah.
But outside of that as well, her shifting between young and old never gets explained.
No, it doesn't.
Whenever she becomes young, her hair doesn't change color either.
No. It's like, just because then you're left with the idea that at the end of the film, you're left with the idea that the reason why she's able to reverse her curse was because she fell in love, right? But because her hair doesn't change, it makes you wonder if she doesn't really love him.
Mm-hmm. And then, not just that, her mom. It's another bad case of bad anime mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that doesn't get explained.
No, because I was watching that and I was thinking, wait, does she see her as regular Sophie or does she see her as an old woman? Like, is it that Sophie is only old to herself and to magical things, or is it that Sophie is old to everyone and her mom is just a shit mom? Like, what's...
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have so many questions.
Yeah. It's such a good film, though. This is the thing.
It's such a good film.
It's like you're sitting here and you're going, this doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
Yeah, like I'm left so confused, but at the end of the day, my heart is also full.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. It's like eating a really good meal, but still just being like, eh. Like, I don't understand. Yeah. I don't know how I feel.
No, that's kind of exactly what it's like. It's like having an ice cream flavor that you've never had before, and you're like, I really like ice cream. I'm enjoying this, but what is this flavor?
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just podcast brain. I don't know.
See, this is the thing, is we do tend to dissect things when we watch them. We can't just watch them to enjoy them when we're reviewing them for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the type of film that you watch to enjoy. You don't watch this to think hard.
No, definitely not. I thought too hard. My brain hurt.
Yeah.
Also, I inhaled way too much xylene this week.
What the fuck is xylene?
It's a very hot paint solvent.
Fun.
So, yeah, I had to run a delivery this week, and 2 of the 5-gallon jugs of xylene busted on the back of the van, and I had like 5 hours worth of deliveries to make.
Oof.
So I was higher than a kite, and for the past 3 days, I've had a splitting headache.
Love that.
So it finally started to subside today until, I took another delivery and got back in the van that still reeks of xylene.
No.
So, yeah, fun week.
Yeah, I had a migraine for the first couple days this week.
Ew, that's no fun.
I know, it was no fun. And I missed my last class because of it, yeah.
That sucks.
It wasn't like a mandatory viewing class, but I liked that professor and I didn't get to say goodbye. And I was like, oh, this is sad.
I'll just email him goodbye. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I will. But also,
there's always next semester. You can always go.
We were doing collages in that class. I could have made a collage. I haven't made a collage since I was in, primary school.
But did you really want to make the collage?
It was part of my grade. Well, I did. I made it at home. But, I could have done it in class.
I mean, hey, at least you got it made. And I don't know when the last time I made a collage was. I don't know.
A college collage.
A college judge.
A collegeage. A collages.
A college. You made a college.
I made a collage.
Collage.
That's so dumb. That's like if you have like several different types of hair colors, but they fade from one to another, then it's a collage. I think only Janessa's going to get that joke.
But on that same note, though,
what?
I'm sure you're very used to that.
Yeah.
Because your hair has been all over the place, mate.
Has.
But yet so fancy. Janessa does such a great job.
Does. Yes. Agreed. Anyway, back to the movie. Yeah. What are we at time-wise? 7:18. What do we not talk about? Well, we kind of got halfway through the plot and then stopped. So then Sophie goes and meets up with Howl, Howl, and they have a fun old time. And then war happens, and he sends Sophie off to like, hey, be my mom so I can run away. And she's like, fine, whatever. And runs off to be his mom. Meets the royal witch, who's kind of a bitch, and makes them all walk up the stairs, which like rude. How dare you make us walk and exercise?
Yeah, because Sophie's an old lady, and the Witch of the Waste is, like Blue described earlier, just old, grotesque, out of shape.
Yeah. And also, she makes Sophie carry her dog. That can fly with its ears.
Uh-huh.
But that's also never spoke about. Just like the one time it can fly with its ears, and then for the rest of the time it's useless. So then Howl comes to check up on them because shit hits the fan. Then they fly away on a flying machine, and it's very Chitty Chitty Bang Bang-esque, and I kind of love that. This whole film kind of reminds me of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang for some reason. And then they go to a flower field for a bit. Howl is turning into a bird. # crow. And war happens. Propaganda flies from the ceiling. The house falls apart. And
bombs also fly from the ceiling. Howl flies from the ceiling on a bomb.
Everyone's just flying from the ceiling, including the dog with ears. I mean, most dogs have ears, but like, this is Dumbo dog, and then she's slowly turning human and not human, and then they're in a flower field again, but it's baby Howl and tiny fire spirit. And it's his actual heart, not like emotional heart, like the organ. Old woman steals it for a bit. Everyone's fine. And that's the film.
Yep. Howl gets his heart back. Fire spirit decides to come back for some unknown reason because he was bored and missed everyone.
Yeah.
It wasn't raining when he came back. He's like, oh, it's going to rain soon.
Yeah.
He's like, and I missed you guys. I think he just missed them. Friendship.
He just found his family.
Also, sorcerer lady at the palace.
It's
did
just
she start
chill.
The war?
Yeah,
like, did she start the war? Did she call off the war? What the fuck?
It's so confusing because she's like, we need Howl to end this war because people are dying, and then she's like, oh, let me just call the prime minister real quick and we'll just stop the war. And it's like, you could have just called the prime minister in the beginning. Why also, all of the shenanigans?
Who was the prince? Was the prince Howl? I think she called the prince Howl.
But like, also that one random dude came in and he was courting the king or the prince or whatever for a bit and then ran off, and then but Howl was also her apprentice. The whole thing kind of seems like she was like, I'm mad that you left me, so I'm gonna shit on the entire world and then make you come back and apologize. Oh, you're happy now? Fine, I guess I can let you be. That's kind of, but like, people are dying throughout this whole film because there's actual war on.
Yeah, don't. My brain hurts.
And then it turns out the Scarecrow is a prince from a foreign land, and he's like, just kidding, you don't love me, but you are my one true love. Like, that's horrible, and he's not even sad about it. And he'd say he just leaves. But it's also like, couldn't you have given him a one true love elsewhere? Like, did you have to say true love? Couldn't it just been like, oh, the person you love has to, but like, true love? So he has no chance with anybody else now? Like, did you have to make them soulmates? Like, could it have just been like casual? Oh yeah, if she has a crush on you, then you can go. Like, that's so sad.
Yeah, it's big sad. I don't get it. It's so sad.
And it was so glossed over, but it was so unnecessarily sad. It could have just been something like, oh, you had to get a kiss from a innocent maiden or a kiss from someone who has pure intention or something, you know?
Yep, but no, one true love. And he's like, oh, people's hearts changed. I'll be back. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like, okay.
I've never been so confused.
Yeah.
But still, good film.
Very good film. Love the film. Very much enjoyed. Had a fantastic time despite all of this.
Yeah, don't ever take our shit talking for what it is.
No, yeah.
You just have to get it out. There's shit that has to be vented about.
I'm fully willing to rate this film like a 9, even though it makes no sense.
Oh, you're going to give it a 9? I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah. We swapped. We reversed.
I know. Look at that. Just too many plot holes.
I kind of love the plot holes because it makes me think about it after the fact, which is so hypocritical of me because I tear things to shreds that have plot holes.
If there is anything that we cover that makes you think, that takes you back to reality, to where you're like, oh my God, why? How was he able to just get out of the hospital and walk? Why didn't anyone stop him? But no, we have pointed out a metric ton of plot holes, and you're like, fuck it, 9.
It's because I like it so much. I don't know. It's like, it takes me to like childhood imagination and like dreamland, where shit just does not make sense, but you have the best time. And I think
all of it is anime. We all have a good time.
But no, you don't, because you show me sad things.
I can show you a lot more sad things.
No, don't.
I hold back.
This made me so happy. It was just, and they got together in the end, and they kissed on a airship, and it was very cute, and it reminds me of a blimp for some reason. I guess it's the war vibes. I don't know. Next thing I know, there's going to be 99 red balloons. Like, I don't...
So, with all those bombings and everything's happened, did you get some Full Metal Alchemist vibes?
I got World War II vibes, but yeah, sure, that too.
Well, I mean, that's also World War II vibes, if you consider... Full Metal Alchemist, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall good time.
It's a fantastic film. I love it.
Solid 8.
Solid 9. I think it's great. Don't go into it with a brain. Shut your brain off.
Don't go into it with a brain. Do not go into this to try to cover it on a podcast.
No. Just watch it for funsies. It's a great time to watch for funsies.
Yeah. I'll have to show this to the girlfriend. I think she'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Very romance, very magical. I want to cosplay. Having a great time.
But I swear to God, if she leaves me for a Howl body pillow, I'm going to be pissed.
It's a risk, my guy. He was even hot when he was a bird. Like, it's...
Oh, my God. Oh.
And for some reason, his childish tantrum about his physical appearance just seemed kind of charming. I don't know why it wasn't annoying. Like, it should have...
I mean, mood. I'm not pretty anymore. Slam, turns to goop.
Honestly. Because his hair dye went wrong. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I mean, I don't get it because I've never had a bad hair dye job because thanks to Janessa. But, I get, like, shit hitting the fan with that. I don't know. He's big mood. I love him.
We get it.
Yeah.
That everything?
That's everything.
So you can find Blue on Instagram and Twitter at BlueLavenderSTM.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't have any other spiel past that.
No. And you can find Brad on Twitch at BradCards Gaming. He's streaming literally right after we're recording, so you missed that stream, but you can find more streams. There are streams. And yeah, so check that out. He's also on Instagram under the same handle. We have shit on BnB Anime. So if you're curious about when we're not rambling like lunatics, because I feel like today we just had no brains. But normally I feel like we have slightly more brain. So you can find us on the socials at BnB Anime, pretty much on everything. We also have a website at bnbanime.com where you can find www. Don't forget those. Sometimes the website screws up if you don't put the W's in. I don't know why. We have tried to fix it. It works sometimes and doesn't others. But yeah, you can find our previously archived episodes there, along with links to your favorite listening platform, where we're on like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're curious about what we're on, check out the website. It'll be there. Or you can just download it straight from the website. We also have a comment section there. We also have YouTube. YouTube is a week behind us. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, you are a week behind. You have an extra episode that you can listen to if you wish. Go on to Spotify or some shit, because we're there.
But while you're on YouTube or anything else, please make sure to like and or follow or do the subscribe thing.
Do the subscribey things.
Yeah, that way you get notified whenever we drop episodes, which is every Sunday at 9:30, except for YouTube has been lagging behind here lately for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yes, but turn the bell on to all that shit. You know the way that it goes. Also, put your comments in the comment section or hit us up in those DMs for the conversations that we talked about today. I'm super curious about the copyright thing and what you guys feel about that. How do you guys feel about Howl's Moving Castle? How does it rank to you in the Ghibli film set? What do you think? And also, what's your favorite Ghibli film? I want to know.
Yeah, tell us all the things.
Yeah.
That it?
That's it.
So thank you all so much for listening, Blue, and I greatly appreciate it. Next week, who knows? We'll figure something out. Our schedule is basically dead to us right now.
Yes, but soon we have end of the year stuff, fun stuff coming. So look out for that.
So not this coming week, or not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday starts our end of the year review, where we go through everything that we've covered from top to bottom and let you know what we think is the worst from the best. And then finally, our last episode of the year is going to be our anime awards.
Yeah.
Where we go through everything for anime of the year, OP and ED of the year, best boy, best girl, all that fun stuff.
Yes, and let us know if you have any categories that you think would be fun for us to shove in there at the anime awards. For instance, best broomstick, or scarecrow. That's what I meant. Don't know why I said broomstick. I tell you why. It's because there's on my anime list, this is such a specific thing. On my anime list, there is the Witch of the Waste, her voice actor, is called Miwa Akihiro, right? And her profile picture, for some reason, when I'm looking at her out the corner of my eye, because she has like yellow dyed hair, like very vibrant yellow, and then a black headband. And when I see her at the corner of my eye, I see Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty to me just makes me think of brooms because of the sweeping scene where she was trying to keep up a cake with a broom, but she hadn't baked the cake yet and it was full. Anyway, that's why I was thinking brooms. Because of ADHD.
That's hilarious. I love it.
But yeah. Bye, guys.
Yep. Until next time. Bye-bye.